Today I'm going to show you how to do a hand rolled hem. In my example, I'm going to be hand stitching the rolled hem onto a scarf. And this is what it looks like from the outside. Tiny stitches on the outside. And if you use matching thread, they're barely noticeable unless you have, they show up on this dark brown sections, and this is what it looks like on the wrong side. And you would see this a lot on silk scarves with hand rolled hems, but you could also do this on the hem of a skirt with really delicate fabric, or if you're sewing a collar that it has a ruffle and you want to keep it really lightweight, or on the hem of a top that's a ruffled top. Yeah, but it's really easy once you get the hang of it, and it gives a really nice finish. So let's get started. So what you're gonna need is a needle and thread with just one strand of thread, and I've knotted it at the end here. I'm using a pretty small needle and thread that matches the background color of my fabric. So you're going to start by, if you're working with, depending on what fabric you're working with, you're most likely going to have fraying at the edges here. So before I start, I will trim these little threads just at that section I'm about to do, and then I'll probably need to trim as I go around just to get those out of the way. So take your needle. We're going to insert the needle about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge, from the raw edge right here, about like that, and pull through. Then you're going to fold this over so that your thread is coming out of the top, out of that fold, and it should be about 1/8 of an inch fold. And I will just sort of finger press the section where I'm headed next. And if you're left-handed, you will probably be going this direction and holding the needle in your left hand, obviously, but I'm going to be heading this direction. All right, so then you're going to come straight down, put your needle straight down from where you just came out of, and you're just going to catch a little bit, and this is what's going to be showing on the right side of your fabric. You just catch a couple of threads right beneath that raw edge right there, and pull, snug but not too tight. You can see that little vertical stitch we just made. Then you're going to go up about the same distance apart, straight up from where you just came out of, into this fold and into the tunnel of this folded edge. And you're going to make a long stitch. So into the fold and go about 1/2 inch or so. Make a longer stitch through that folded edge without going through to the right side, and pull that through. You can see those little vertical stitches there. Then you're going to repeat that. You're going to go down from here, straight down, pick up just a little bit, and this is the stitch that's going to show from the right side. Pull through, and then come straight up, and this is about, about 1/8 of an inch away, and then you're going to make your long stitch So about 1/2 inch or so, just kind of whatever's a comfortable amount. You can see those stitches better on that brown. Go back down, back up just a little bit, and then go back up and make your long stitch. And as I'm going, I will fold this back and sort of finger press to get it ready. And try to keep everything even. Your seam allowance, keep your seam allowance even. If you wanted to, you could draw your seam allowance in with a washable marker, but I find it's easier to, you know, just kind of jump right in. Go back down. Catch a little bit. Go back up and do your long stitch into the fold. And I usually keep doing this, you know, just a few times, 5 or 6 times. Repeat this, and then comes the fun part of folding it over, and you'll see how that works. Okay, and to do this next step, or to do the folding step, always end with the thread, always end after a long stitch. So right at the beginning, I'm going to hold where I made my knot, and then take this thread and pull it, and the fold will form. And I'm holding onto that knot. And then run your hand along and get rid of that, to get rid of any extra tension that happens when you pull here. And there's your rolled hem. And then at the end, at the very end, we can press that and give a nice, to get a nice crisp press. And so you keep going just like that. Trim threads as you go to get those out of the way. Keeps them from sticking out of your hem as well. I can usually get about, 5 to 6 of these little stitches before I pull. So I'm always holding on to this section over here that's already folded and just give a gentle pull. And then run your hand over to get rid of that tension. Then I'll just kind of finger press it as well, just to make sure it's looking good. And that's pretty much all you do, and you do that all the way around. And I'll show you what to do when you come up to a corner, which I'm almost to this corner, so I'll show you what to do. you'll continue the pattern, and you're going to want to end where you're making a long stitch and stop about 1/8 of an inch away from this corner. So if you need to squish your stitches a little bit closer to get to, you know, to time it right. So I'm about 1/8, I'm doing my long stitch and coming out about 1/8 of an inch away from your next edge. And you're going to pull that. And go ahead and continue folding this as if you had just folded that. And we're going to make a stitch sort of right next to where you just came out, but just through one layer of fabric, like just this front, through this first layer of fabric right here, and come out through the top, fold like that, and then turn, trim any threads that you need to, and then you're going to continue with the pattern, and this corner can get a little tricky, but what you do is you fold this down 1/8 of an inch. Sometimes you kind of have to squish that raw edge up there. And you're going to come down right below that edge folded down and pick up again just a little bit. And I'm usually like right at the corner right here in this little corner, pick up just a little bit. And I'll usually put that thread on top, or try to. And then you keep going, go up to the top, and next is your long stitch. So come up, tunnel through, make your long stitch. It's just a little finicky at the corner. I'll just do a couple of the pattern, a couple stitches of the pattern. And then we're going to pull it to see how that corner looks. Okay, and I usually have to kind of help it along. So I'm going to pull, and then I usually have to kind of fold this under while I'm pulling. That's not the best corner, but get the idea. I kind of have to help roll it under and then pull to help tighten those corner stitches up, and then, you know, release any, oops, kind of pulled a little too tight. Just release some extra tension. And there, that's pretty good. And pressing will help as well at the end. And then you just keep going. It's a very, or I think it's a very sort of relaxing, methodical thing to do with your hands. You know, definitely time consuming, but once you kind of get the hang of it and pick up speed, then it really doesn't take long. And you can make these, you can make your long stitches a little bit longer if you want to speed things up. But that's how you do it. I'm just going to pull one more time, and I think the pulling part is my favorite part. And it just looks nice and neat from the right side. All right, so that's how you would hand roll a hem. When you're coming up to the end of your thread and you need to start a new thread, I make a long stitch and pull, and then that's where I make, that's when I make a tiny knot right in that fold, because that's going to be folded under. Snip that and join new thread. Needle in right below the knot you just made. Pull through. Go back up to where you just were and make a long stitch. Continue on with the pattern and then pull that to bring that down. You can see a little bit of a knot, and I could have done a better job of hiding that more in the fold, but that's how you would do that. So thanks for watching, and I hope this was helpful, and hopefully you can enjoy slowing down a little bit and doing some hand stitching to get a nice, pretty rolled hem. Have fun.